Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to another Figma review, and today I'm looking at Figma number 230, a Terraformar from the anime and manga Terraformars. So far this looks awesome, and through the window here in the front you can see the Terraformar itself, his club here in the middle, as well as the alternate hands over here to the left. And as usual we've got pictures on the top, the bottom, as well as here and here on the sides. And as you can see the box is in black this time, and that looks absolutely amazing. The lower section down here is in a gloss black, and this section around here is in a matte black, and that's a pretty cool looking contrast there. The picture of the Terraformar here on the side is also in gloss, so that looks really good against the matte black. And as always around here on the back we've got some pictures of the figure in action, so let's not waste any more time. Let's bust this thing open and see what we've got. As you can see, the rear section in here with the DI stage pull-out section is in black as well. I'm not going to bother taking that out. You know what that looks like already. And here's the clear inner packaging out of the box, and the first thing I have to say is this is one big Figma. If I stick another Figma down beside it like this Figma Cobra here, you can see it's quite big in comparison, and this is a big enough Figma already. And there it is next to Figma Snow Miku, and you can see it is pretty damn big. So besides what you could see from the outside of the box, there's also this part here, which you may have seen before, and that is for changing the directions the eyes are looking. And also down here in the bottom of the box we've got the Figma bag, the base and stand, as well as the instructions, which lists the included parts, as well as instructions on how to move the eyes around. And last but by no means least is the figure itself. So here's the Terraformar out of the box, and it looks absolutely awesome. And like I already mentioned, this is one big Figma. As you can see, it comes in at about 18.5 centimeters. So as far as Figma go, that is big. A couple of quick size comparisons, and first up is Shimakaze, Levi, and what was my tallest Figma, Love Machine. As well as being huge, this is also incredibly detailed. The sculpt of this figure just looks so damn good. This figure really does capture that bizarre creepiness of a Terraformar. Moving in towards the face, and this looks fantastic. The sculpt is amazing here as well, and all the features of the head and face are so well sculpted. The eyes here look freaky. There's those very small minute antenna on the head up there, and around here on the back is that cockroach shell-like section, and that is painted in a glossy, wet looking style paint back there, and that looks pretty nasty in a good way. Moving down towards the body now, and you can just see the sculpt is phenomenal. There really isn't much variation to the paint on this figure, but that amazing detail and sculpt work, topped off with that black, or should I say very dark bronze looking paint there, it really captures the light and shadow perfectly, and it just looks so damn good. Round here to the arm, and that looks great. That awesome paint again catching that light and shadow there. And now around to the back, and this as well looks absolutely perfect. The detail is spectacular. Those little pointy bits that you see on the ass of a cockroach, they've even been included here as well, and that is pretty weird. And the same goes with the legs down here as everything I've said already. But the sculpt and the paintwork are absolutely top notch. This looks fantastic. And before somebody asks, there are no wings here on the back, it's just a solid part here. And same goes for vents, there's no vents back here either. As well as the hands, you can see they're pretty normal in there. So Max Factory has done an excellent job of bringing the Terraformar to life here. This looks so good. So here's the Figma Terraformar with everything that it comes with. So what I've got in here is the club, 9 alternate hands, as well as the 2 default fists here, as well as this tool over here for moving around the eyes. So first up is the hands, and we've got 2 flat palmed hands, 2 widespread open hands, 2 holding hands for using with the club, a pointing right hand, this left hand with the fingers in a grabbing position, as well as what appears to be the shocker. Changing the hands is simple as usual, you just pull it off like that, remove this clear section here like so, and then just attach the hand on like this. Here we have the club, which has some really nice detailing along here. It has a lot of nice outlines on all the flat surfaces like you can see there. That really looks cool. But sadly there's a massive mold line all the way around it there. This is hollow too. So that does take away from the overall aesthetic, sadly. To attach the club, you attach it into this hand here with the hole in it, and I'll just point out that this does feel quite delicate, and that's quite a small hole, so sometimes you'll notice with Figma that it is pretty hard to get the weapon into the hand, and this is going to be one of those times, so just be careful with that because it may have a chance of snapping. So that attaches in just like that, and there it is, attached. And last up is this tool for moving around the eyes, the same as what you would have got with Figma Cobra, Figma Thor, or Figma Captain America, and there might be more, but I'm not sure. So that's it for accessories. Now let's move on to articulation. So as always, I'll be working from the head down. So there's the head all the way down to the front, all the way back and up. So that's some pretty nice movement to the back there. This part back here is flexible, so that doesn't really get in the way. All the way from side to side, so again, amazing there. That can probably go all the way around, but that does feel a little bit weird. There is a joint down here as well as up here, so that gives a lot of articulation in the neck. So a little bit of sideward rotation there as well. So some nice articulation there. So there's the arm all the way up to the top. That can spin all the way around. It's double jointed in there, so it can kind of move up and down like that. There is the bend at the elbow, so just about 90 degrees. And at the wrist, it's that new style Figma joint, so that can bend up and down and spin round. There's a lot of articulation right there. Crunch at the waist all the way to the front. That is pretty good. And all the way to the back. Just a little bit there, not too much. Side to side crunch there, that's pretty good as well. As you can see, this is separated into 3 sections here, so there's probably 2 joints in there. The leg all the way up to the front, that is pretty good. All the way to the back, if you lift it up it can go out a bit more, but this butt part here kind of gets in the way. And finally all the way out to the side, so that is pretty good as well. He can pretty much do the splits there. The bend at the knee, and that is pretty good. All the way down at the ankle, all the way up. Bit of side to side movement right there. And last up, the bend at the toes. So that's pretty cool. That can bend only up, it can't bend down. What can I say? Another amazing Figma right here. The quality, it's the same epic level of quality you would expect from Figma as always. First off, I'll just mention that this is one well-balanced figure. It's quite easy to pose without its stand because of that, and can support itself quite well. Not necessarily a quality point, but I'll just point it out. So like I've already said already, the sculpt here is phenomenal. It just looks so good from every angle. The same can be said about the paint. What could almost be called a metallic black or a metallic bronzy black. It looks so good and is very reminiscent of a cockroach. They've totally nailed that. It catches the light magnificently. I found it quite hard to get the back of the head off at first to change the eyes around, but I recommend taking the head off and just pulling it from the bottom and popping it off like this. This figure also has those awesome movable eyes. Using this, you can adjust the direction of the eyes, which is pretty awesome and can really complement some poses. But personally, I just prefer to use my fingernail as opposed to the tool. I find it's just easier to maneuver them. So that's it for the good points. Is there any bad? Well, not necessarily a bad point. Sometimes the joints do feel kind of loose. Maybe it's just because the body parts are quite heavy, but they do feel loose at times. But then again, I've never had any trouble with it holding a pose or not being able to stand up. But I don't know how that will hold up over time, to be honest. One thing I did notice while playing around with this is it feels a little bit more rubbery than your average Figma. So I went to the Figma site for a look, and it usually says they're made out of ABS and PVC, I think. But this apparently is made out of a different type of PVC. ATBC-PVC, I think it said. But this material does seem to be a little more susceptible to gate marks. As you can see here, 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 and here, pretty much everywhere. Really, when on display, they're next to not noticeable, especially because this is all in the one color. So not the biggest deal, really. So that's it for my review of the Figma Terraformar. And what can I say? I absolutely love this Figma. I mean, it is so damn awesome. Sure, there's a couple of minor things to point out, like that seam line in the club, as well as those gate marks here and there around the body. But really, they pale in comparison to just how awesome this figure actually is. It really is just so much fun to pose. It's both big and has some great articulation, but at the same time, it has nothing that gets in the way of any of the poses, and it just looks awesome all of the time. And like I said before, that sculpt is absolutely superb. The moving eyes are an awesome addition too, because the eyes really are a focal point on this figure, and they really are a focal point on a Terraformar. But all in all, this is an absolutely amazing Figma, and I highly recommend this. And that's whether you like Terraformars or not. It's just an awesome figure. So as always, thanks for watching, and make sure to come back here for more Figma reviews.